Snapchat is the most problematic app that parents have concerns about. It always comes up as the top of the list of the parents' concerns. Why? The main concern that parents have about Snapchat is that they cannot supervise the content that's been sent. There's more of a direct form of communication. So you don't have a profile that everyone can see, but you have people on your Snapchat list, your friends list, and then you can send photos and videos directly to people that you select. The very unique thing about Snapchat is that photos and videos can be time limited. So you can set a time limit between 1 second and 10 seconds. And then once I've set a time limit of, let's just say 5 seconds, and I've sent you a photo, once you've opened it and that 5 seconds has elapsed, then that photo disappears. The perception is that it disappears forever, but we know that that's not actually true. People can take screenshots of every snap that comes into their phone, which saves a copy of that image. There are apps that you can download that automatically save every single snap that comes into your phone. And we also know that everything that goes online stays online. All of the information sent across Snapchat actually gets stored on the Snapchat server. And although it's not publicly available information, that content is still there and it can come back to bite you later on. Snapchat is unfortunately the #1 app that's being used for sexting at the moment, and we are seeing that cyberbullying on Snapchat is increasing significantly. The way that cyberbullying can happen on Snapchat is you'll see young people typically take maybe a photo or video of somebody else, and then they'll write a nasty caption and they'll send it to their friend. So it's not a direct cyberbullying attack, but there's still that mean element to it that then gets sent around the school and other people see it, and typically it does come back to the person who is in that particular image or video. Unfortunately, the time limitation means that young people feel like sending a nude image on Snapchat is risk-free. One of the issues that we talk about with teenagers a lot is that people are able to take screenshots of a snap without it sending a notification to that person. This baffles parents. What is a snap streak? People ask in these sessions that we go and speak at, and they ask about a snap streak saying that I've threatened to take my daughter's phone away and she has lost the plot because there's a chance then that she'll break her snap streak. I've had a dad call me once and say, my daughter's done the wrong thing and I'm going to take her phone off her as a consequence, but she's crying and having a panic attack over losing her snap streak. He asked me, am I going to be having a detrimental effect on her friendship if I break her snap streak? Essentially what a snap streak is that two people on Snapchat send a photo or video to each other every single day without a break. You'll find young people, it doesn't even have to be a photo of anything. They'll take a photo of the floor just to make sure that their snap streak is maintained. What happens is after a certain amount of days, you get a little flame next to that person's name. And it's kind of like a badge of honour between you and your friend. It shows that you're committed to each other, that you've maintained that streak every single day, and young people actually feel connected to that. They feel like it is a reflection of the value and the commitment in their friendship with somebody else. What also then happens is, and the reason that young people get very upset about breaking a snap streak, is because kids feel responsible for keeping it going. They feel responsible to their friend. If they're the one that breaks it, there's social fallout from that, or at least they think that there's going to be, and they think it's going to be a lot bigger than what it tends to be. So young people will have a huge freak out with the idea of losing that responsibility or not committing to that friendship by breaking the snap streak. The developers of Snapchat are absolute geniuses in getting people to stay engaged in the platform. They know that young people are using Snapchat, and what they're trying to do is make sure that young people are on the platform every single day. They know exactly how to get people to constantly engage in the platform, and they use social relationships in order to do that. What's in it for Snapchat is the advertising component. There's a large portion of Snapchat that actually has marketing in it. They're usually by magazines or media outlets that post up advertising campaigns or information that they want young people to read. They know that Snapchat, if they allow young people to be engaged in the platform every single day, then those media outlets are getting a really high level of exposure from their target audience, which is young people. A lot of it talks about things like makeup products or health products and fitness regimes. A lot of it, though, talks about sexuality. Like some of the articles will be about like penis sizes or vaginal smells and things like that. And they are framed in what might seem to be a health kind of way. And for a lot of people that might be the case. But if you're seeing children as young as 13 on these particular apps, if you're seeing media content that's about Kama Sutra and sexual positions, it might not be something that you want your child exposed to, and yet it's there. It's a lot more than just who they're talking to and the friends that they might be engaging with. It's the added content that's in Snapchat that's also a little bit concerning. So the media articles in there are not always very child appropriate. The other major issue that we don't necessarily know as parents is the geo information that's included in Snapchat. So apart from the fact that Snapchat will track you on a map and send out Google image kind of pictures about where you actually live, you can actually also see what we call a story. So a story is a collection of videos or images that other people have posted. But Snapchat in the latest update now allows you to see geolocated stories. So for example, you might see a geolocated story of a party that might be happening in a nearby suburb. There might be a lot of drinking. There might be some sexual acts. And young people will just have access to that without even searching for it because it comes up on their story. Snapchat is not appropriate for younger children, although we do know that a lot of young children do use Snapchat. A lot of Year 1 students love Snapchat. And when we go and speak to kids in the session, they'll very openly say that they will use Snapchat. Now, it's good to be mindful that when we say kids as young as Year 1, so 6-year-olds are using Snapchat, it's not necessarily because they're directly communicating with anyone. Snapchat for young children is very popular because of the filters. Kids love the filters. If you've ever seen a photo or video of your child with puppy ears or a flower crown, they're the filters. Now, even those we need to be mindful of because a lot of kids start to say things like, I don't want to take a photo without a filter, or add the filter, mum. Now, what we have to be very mindful of is that although the filters can be very cute, they also add slight facial modifications at the same time. So they'll tuck up your jaw, they'll narrow your nose, they'll clear your skin, and they'll brighten your eyes, and you look wonderful. It's very odd that one of the filters is a pig with a big pig snout and pig ears, and yet you look better as a pig if you didn't have the filter at all. And it's because of these modifications. In fact, there's better apps if kids love the filters for them to use than Snapchat. So blocking Snapchat for kids under the age of 13 is actually really important. If they love the filters, they can use some alternatives that might not be as precarious. It's very hard for parents to be able to supervise the actual content that's been sent and received on Snapchat because you can't reopen it after a certain period of time. You can get some insights on Snapchat. If you open the actual app on your child's phone or iPad, it'll open up onto the camera roll, and if you swipe to the left, you'll see essentially a list of activity. It'll have people's names, and there'll be squares or triangles next to their names. Now, anything that's purple is a video, anything that's red is a photo, and anything that's blue is kind of like a chat, so actual text. Anything that's not filled in has already been opened, and you won't be able to see that content there. But anything that is filled in, you will be able to open. And in that moment, if you decide this is a moment where I want to implement my supervisory rights as a parent, that's when you can open it. Just keep in mind that it is not like an email where you can press mark as unread. Once you've opened it, you've opened it. And it's really important you be transparent with your child and say, hey, I did open it. I'm just letting you know. So then it decreases the disruption that it'll have in your relationship. They won't love it, but just be open and honest with them about it. This is one of the questions I get asked about the most is, should I supervise exactly what my child is doing, or should I respect their privacy? So how do you find that middle ground? Well, what I would encourage parents to do is this. Tell your children that you are going to look at their content every now and then. Okay, make it very clear to them. They will be able to figure out that you've done it anyway. The good thing for parents is that research actually tells us that kids actually expect you to check their posts as parents. They don't want you to, but they expect you to.